Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to show you how to paint a cute little foresty scene with a sleigh in it. As you have joined me, I am still taping my paper down. I'm taping it straight to my desk, and I'm putting about halfway on the paper, halfway on the desk, roughly. Sometimes it's a little more, a little less. But this will give us a nice little border. Yeah, that's not very straight. I'm going to do that again. It's going to give us a nice little border at the end, at the edge of our paper, and it'll make everything look a little bit neater. So I'm putting one on each side. There we go. So I'll just be working in the section in between. Step number 1, we're going to mix some very light paint today. So I'm getting some water out of my water bowl and I'm putting it in here. And then I'm going to get a little bit of blue. Tiny bit of blue. And maybe just a little bitty bit of black. So I'm making this snowy grayish blue color. And that's all I'm going to use for now. I want you to kind of think about leaving the bottom 1/3 of your paper open. So we're going to start by putting some very loose trees in the background. And they're going to be sort of short. So I'm going to put a few trees kind of here. And you can see how light these are. They are not very dark at all. And they're sort of close together. They don't need to go up to the very top of the page, but they can kind of go up like that. So these are just trees. And I'm going to make mine look sort of like evergreen trees, but you don't have to do that if you want. You can make yours look like birches or some sort of larger trees. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to give them a little bit of shape. These don't have to look exactly like nature, because this is going to be kind of a mod, cute looking painting. And these are our very background trees. Wow. Sneezy morning. All right. So we're just making a lot of very faint trees right now. And as we come to the foreground, each set of trees that we do to make these tree trunks a little bit taller here at the bottom, each set of trees that we do is going to get a little bit darker and a little bit bigger. And this will help us build a little bit of depth. I'm going to come up and make some of these a little pointier, just for fun. All right, so then we're going to dry this. So grab a fan, grab another piece of paper, whatever you want. Excuse me, I'm very allergic this morning. And I'm going to just fan this. I want to get it a little bit dry so that when I put the next coat on, it's not going to completely blur these. I still want to see it a little bit. You can see my paint is still kind of glossy. So I'm going to dry it until that is not the case. And since we didn't use a lot of water when we put these trees down, we are not going to have to wait too long for this paint to dry. Whoa, sorry, I did hit the camera. That happens. All right, set my fan off to the side for now. For the next color that I'm going to use, I'm going right back into the same color that I mixed before because I want it to be similar but a little blacker. Wow, that's a lot blacker. All right, I'm going to add some more water. I just want it to be a very faint grayish blackish blue. I don't want it to be too dark. Let's see. That might work. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of blue to it. Get that blue back. See how that looks. That should do. So we're looking for like we want darker than what we just painted on there by a little bit. So we're going to do like 4 sets of trees. All right. So my next set of trees, the trunks are going to begin a little closer and then they're going to go up a little bit above where these trees are. So we're just kind of building our forest. And they don't have to be even, they don't have to all be the same size. So I've done a few lines there. And I'm going to go and do the same exact thing that I did before, where I just put some branches on each of these trees. I'm going to start over here. And I don't want my branches to go all the way down to the bottom of the trunk. I want to leave a little bit of trunk without branches. So I'm just adding some detail to these trees. And you can notice that they're not super perfect trees, which is fine. These are really just our background trees still. We're just building our little forest. Oh, I forgot music. Alexa, play my snow music playlist from Spotify.
Snow music from Spotify.
Here we go. All right, so I'm rounding out this last tree. And then you can probably guess what the next step is going to be. We're going to dry it a little bit. We want this to get a little drier before we come on with another dark layer of trees. So I'm just fanning, and this is drying pretty quickly, again, because we used a very light coat of paint. So now you can probably guess, we're going to go back into our color and mix it back up. It's separating a little bit, and I'm going to add more black. I don't want this to be super dark black yet. Super dark black is going to be our very last set of trees. So these trees that we're doing now can come a little bit in front of these, but we still want to leave enough space to make our sleigh. So these can be a little bit in front here. So I'm going to do one here. They can be a little thicker, a little darker. So there's this tree stalk. You can see they're getting a little bit thicker, a little bit darker. Here in the foreground, we can afford to do that. And I'm going to leave the in-between space, not with a lot of these dark trees. I'm going to leave that middle section a little bit open. A little bit open. And I'm going to be a little more precise with the bottom of these trees. Maybe I do want this tree to go a little taller. We'll let this one be a little taller too. Okay. And then this one can come down a little further. Maybe it's a little closer to us. And I'm going to just drag my brush all the way up. It's going to be sort of thick. Round that off at the bottom. It's going to be sort of thick, and that's all right. That's what we want. This tree is closer to us, so it can be a little thicker. So we're starting to build some depth. Starting to be able to see that we have trees closer to us. And this one is right along the edge of my painting, but I think that's going to be okay. When I pull that tape, it's like we're only seeing half of this tree. And then, you know, these can go, I'm going to make a couple of these go like all the way up, because these are very tall trees. All right, so now we can put our branches on these trees. So I'm just coming down, and these branches are a little bit bigger because these trees are a little bit bigger. So these branches can be darker. I might need to add a little more paint in here. I'm running out. All right, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to let these be nice and dark. I'm so much better at doing these tree branches this way than the other way. All right. So there's that one. And then we'll start working on this one. You might notice that your tree trunks are drying. So you might want to re-wet them if they're getting really dry. But they should still be wet enough that when you add that paint, it kind of fills in this space. There we go. All right, so let's do this one. Gonna add some more color to this tree trunk. So I hope you're enjoying these little tree shapes. I know that I am. I like making these little trees. All right, and so this one's gonna need some branches. Not gonna quite come as far down with these branches because this tree is closer to us, so its branches are gonna start a little higher up. All right, and then the very last one over here. All right, so we've built our little scene. Now we're gonna add a sleigh. And I'm gonna help you add, let's go, I'm gonna make mine red. Yours can be whatever color you want, but I'm gonna go with red. And if you happen to have white paint, you can always speckle this forest. You can throw some little snow on there. That would definitely be cute. All right, so I've got my red mixed. And the reason I mix it here, you can always mix in like the lid of your paint pan if you want to. I mix it here because I want it to be, I don't want it to be too gummy. Sometimes paint right out of the pan, you can't control the consistency as well. All right, so for our sleigh, I'm gonna get enough paint in my brush where I can kind of draw with it. So for our sleigh, I'm gonna make a little spiral, and then it's gonna come down and up. So it's kind of a U shape. And then I'm going to add a little more bulk to the back of the sleigh. And I'm going to make this come down into a cute little point. So it's sort of a triangle here, and then it goes up into this little swirl. All right, so there is that part of the sleigh. Now we're going to make the blades of the sleigh that's going through the snow. So that's just, it kind of comes up like this and goes down and around. And it also curls over. And then we just have like one piece connecting here and one piece connecting here, and then maybe one in the middle. So that is my sleigh. So there's our sleigh. You can always make this curl over a little bit if you want to, curl backward. Mine's just gonna be like this. And depending on how much room you have, you can have like a little horse here. You can kind of do whatever you want. My sleigh is just sitting out in the forest. I'm gonna fan it a little bit, and then we'll add a couple more trees. All right, now these are gonna be super black. So we can get as much black as we want for these trees that are in the foreground. It's just gonna be really, really black. All right, so I'm gonna have one tree kind of here that comes up. And this is partially on my tape, but that is all right because it's just a little peek into this scene. We can't see the whole entire scene. And then we'll have one tree that's here that's really wide. And we'll just pull it up. Make this tree be very big, very tall. Maybe it goes all the way to the top. It's a huge tree. And it gets a little skinnier as it goes toward the top. But it's a very big tree. It's in our foreground. So it's going to show us just how tiny our sleigh is. And we can put another tree. Let's see, I'm gonna darken this one up a little bit. I don't feel like it quite got dark enough black. Let's get some more paint on there. There we go. And maybe one more that comes all the way down to the bottom of our foreground. And maybe we can't see all of that tree. It's growing over there. We'll see what we can fit in. But this one is nice and dark. I'm gonna try and take it all the way up. I might need to make a little bit more paint. Let's see what I have here. I am gonna take it all the way up. I did it. All right, so then these are gonna need some branches. So I need to mix a little bit more of my black paint in here. So I have enough. And this is nice and dark. I don't want it to be sticky, but I do want it to be very dark, very inky, very fluid. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna add some branches to this tree. And maybe they're a little wider at the bottom. So there's that way, and then I'll come and I'll add the ones for this way, which are a little more difficult because my hand likes to go that other way. But I'm gonna work with it. I'm gonna try. Perfect. All right, and then I will add, I think I want this tree to be very tall. Maybe go all the way up as well. So I'm gonna come and add these little swoopy branches down here. Those aren't so bad. They're kind of cute. All right. And then I need some branches on that tree over there. So there's our little forest. I think it looks really cute, pretty nice. And our sleigh is just kind of dashing through what we can do if we would like is go back and we can put some little snowdrifty business in the white part. So I'm just going to come through with my brush and kind of, let's see, that's a little bit dark, but I'm going to come through with my brush and kind of give some dimension to the snow. And it doesn't take much. We can just kind of have a little tiny bit of paint here and there. Rah! That wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay. So we've added some depth to our snow. And I know that in real life a sleigh is pulled by a horse, but that's a complicated endeavor for this particular painting. So we're just gonna have a sleigh. You can put people in your sleigh. You can put presents in your sleigh. You can, if you're feeling really capable and you want to do a horse, you can put a little horse. You can put some footprints. Some people walked away from your sleigh. So there's a lot of different ways to go with it. But I'm going to leave mine here, and I'm just going to leave it like this. I think it looks really cute. I am going to blow it. Whoa! I just knocked you right over. All right. I am going to blow this dry a little bit. I feel like we might do well with some speckles. And I think they're going to be very, very, very light blue. I would like to add some detail to the sleigh, but it's still pretty wet, so I need to wait for it to dry before I do that. All right. I'm going to mix some blue. This is where I already kind of mixed that light grayish blue. So I'm going to stay in the same little section. I can use that paint that's already there. I'm going to water it down to speckle consistency. And I'm just going to load my brush up, and I'm going to grab my pencil so that I want these speckles to be little bitty. So I'm speckling with my pencil. Kind of makes it look a little frosty. If you have white would be great to speckle this with. I might come back and also add some white speckles. But I like the way the speckles make it look like it has a little more depth, like there's a little more going on. I think that makes it fun. All right. You also could get a little fancier with your sleigh if you feel like it. I don't know if I'm there at this point right now. Oh, I found my white. Okay. So here's my white that I have. If you don't have white, your painting is successful as it is right now. But I found my white. I'm gonna bring it over here. This white that I'm using is a white type of a paint called gouache. And it's kind of like an opaque watercolor. So sometimes you might have a white in your paint set, but sometimes you don't. So don't worry about it if you don't. But I'm just gonna show you what it can look like if you have some white. There we go. There's some snow. All right. And what I think might also be a good idea is when this sleigh dries, you could go back in with marker and you could add some little details to it. That might be nice too. Speckles are my favorite. If you haven't worked with me before, you'll learn very quickly that I enjoy putting these little speckles all over my paintings. What else could we use in here, y'all? I don't know. I think maybe I should leave it alone. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to fan it just a little bit. Just a little bit of fanning. Just to get those edges clean so I can pull that tape. I think it's going to look a lot more magical when we pull the tape because my trees on the edge are really pretty messy. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's nice. All right. I'm pulling my tape away from the paper. It's less likely to rip the paper that way. There is no guarantee that the tape will not rip your paper. But this is a way to maybe convince the tape that it wants to come away. It doesn't want to stay. So I'm pulling away and slowly. That was successful. All right. Last one. Here we go. All right. I think we're going to have a happy result here. All right. So there is my painting so far. I'm going to go ahead and sign my name. And I might come back and put a little more detail in here later. But for now, here we are. I like it.